Where is he?
Where are you? Skull Rock. Do you know it?
Hello, this is Stacy over at the Skull Rock broadcast. I am joined by...
Hello, this is Megan. Welcome back to our Stranger Things podcast. And welcome to our very last episode before season 5 comes
Dun,
out.
dun, dun.
We are finally here. We have finally made it to the piggyback. Season 4, episode 9.
I know.
Such a long season. And yeah, I can't believe we've made it. How are you feeling?
I'm hanging in there. It was so funny. Before we started recording, Megan was like trying to mentally prepare for Wednesday, and I'm like, I literally guessed I thought you had an appointment, and then I was like, yeah, Thanksgiving, yeah, and she's like, no, Stacey, Stranger Things, and I'm like, oh yeah, but no, I'm really pumped. As I've mentioned, I'm hosting a Friendsgiving with our friends Andy, Brandy, and Rachel, and I just finished getting the house all ready, and I have a whole table full of all of our snacks and stuff for the watch party, and I'm decorating, and I'm just really pumped. There's going to be a Steve-a-palooza, the day of the season 5 premiere, where we're going to all go dressed as Steve to our local Chili's. So guys, if I get arrested, worth it. But it seems like yesterday that we started this podcast and we were making guesses of when it was going to come out and filming updates. So it's so surreal that we're just a few days away.
Yeah, I am very excited for you because it sounds fun, but I would not want to be involved in that. I have to stay home and, be with my family on Thanksgiving. But also, I just want to watch this season in a dark room by myself with no one speaking to me. So having that many people at a watch party sounds like my living hell.
You would sucker punch me because some emotional, horrific, shocking moment would happen. And I would make a toot noise. I'd be like, and you would just be like, Stacey, what the fuck? So,
we have watched movies together before. That is not how I want to watch Stranger Things for the first time.
Yeah, the Stacey Still commentary, it's a select taste and not really something you need to experience when watching something for the first time. So I think this was for the best that, you are, declining to, party it up like it's 1987 with us. But are you pumped to finally see it, the first 4 episodes?
Yeah, it still doesn't feel real, and it's literally in 3 days. So we'll see how I feel in 3 days.
Did you catch the new trailer?
No, I haven't watched it yet. It just dropped, right? Right before we started recording.
I watched it yesterday because it had leaked, and I had no idea it was a leak, but I watched it, and buckle up. I'm excited.
Is it a long trailer or?
It's decent sized.
Okay.
It doesn't give a lot of spoilers, but it looks like this is the first trailer out of the teasers, out of everything so far, that's really sold me. But I was like, wow, I'm
this
really pumped.
Like a volume 1 specific trailer?
It looks it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'll probably watch it after we record. My tradition right now has been just watching all of the trailers once, and that's it.
Look at you.
So probably do that with this one too. That'll be fun. Yeah, but we have a long episode to talk about today.
Yes.
Obviously, I think the piggyback is the longest episode of Stranger Things to date, I believe.
It makes sense that, especially now that they're saying that the final episodes of Volume 3 of this final season are going to be around the same length, because it's the length of a movie. So no wonder that they're actually doing a theatrical release. And I know that they did screen the piggyback on Stranger Things Day back in 2022 in select theaters.
I saw it. It was all of volume 2, actually. So
That's
it was
pretty
both
awesome.
The Papa and the piggyback. Yeah.
And I feel like the piggyback, you're so lucky that you were able to experience that, because it does feel like a movie. It's a very grand scale, very emotional, a lot of really big theatrical, dramatic moments. So I can't wait to piggyback with you in a pizza dough freezer.
Yeah. It doesn't drag at all either. For how long it is, it is fast paced, like you said, theatrical, dramatic. Like it doesn't feel like you're watching 2 hours and 20 minutes of a TV show. Like it feels like a fast-paced movie for sure. So yeah, let's get in that Surfer Boy Pizza van and
head on over to the freezer.
yeah, let's do it. It actually starts with
In Russia.
Yeah, with snow, which is funny because there's like they think it's snowing at the end, like all the people at first. So
I'd be like,
kind
it's
of like
March.
some bookends there. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you're like, oh, snowing. And then you realize you're in Russia, which it makes sense that it's snowing. But Murray, I never caught this before. So like Yuri is working on the helicopter, but Murray in the background is like telling Enzo or Dmitri that he can see him in Indiana. It was really funny. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't.
But you can tell that Yuri's being like sneaky because he takes a part out of the helicopter and like sticks it in his jacket.
Yep.
And then he goes and like tries to start the helicopter and it's making a lot of noise. And he's telling Dmitri and Murray that his women make noise when he pleases them. They might not know anything about that.
I would have already lost my patience and probably killed this guy. But,
Yeah.
you know, so inside, Hop and Joyce, I love that they're changing into Hulk Hogan shirts. There we go, R.I.P. And while they're changing, Joyce sees how badly scarred and beaten up Hop is. And I love that they kind of shared this moment where, you know, you think it's going to be about one thing, but then Hop is just such a normal guy that he actually is kind of talking about how he's been dreaming about their date at Enzo's, but starts focusing on the food, which Joyce is a little like, But, you know, you saw the gruel he was eating. And he's like, you know, oh, yeah, they do something with their breadsticks and stuff. And next thing you know, they share a moment. And the two finally, after 4 long seasons and a prequel play, they finally kiss.
Yeah, and they're interrupted by a phone call, of course. But I need to focus a little bit more on this meal because when we went to the Italian restaurant where Enzo's is, I tried to recreate this meal as best as I could. So Hop wants 2 orders of breadsticks. He's going to go with the lasagna over the veal. Now,
Yeah.
the lasagna had meat in it at the restaurant, so I got something else, like some sort of pasta dish. But Chianti, but he says it wrong.
Yeah,
And-
Chianti.
And you got to have dessert. And then Joyce is asking if there's anything else that he was dreaming about. And she says to use his imagination. And he says, who needs imagination? And that's when they kiss. So it's very sweet. And
See, the
also,
The guys that I'm with, I'd be like, so what else? They'd be like, I don't know, we'll stop by Burger King. We'll get some rodeo cheeseburgers on the way. Like,
but they change into these outfits and they're like matching again, which is a theme like every single season. Like I think from season 2 on, basically, like they're in matching outfits at the end, which is really funny because they have the Russian Guard outfits in season 3. In season 2, they're in scrubs, but then they end up in like the outfits to go into the Upside Down as well. So
yes. Look at
Yeah.
you,
it's very
girl.
sweet. I love my Jopper. Come on, Joyce and Hopper.
Yeah,
You got to
wait a
give them
minute.
their due.
Yeah. But we then cut to the woods. They have parked the stolen RV. And Nancy's going over the plan with Dustin, Robin, Steve, and Eddie, which phase 1, meet Erica at the playground. She'll signal Max and Lucas when they're ready. Phase 2, Max baits Vecna, putting him in a trance. Phase 3, Eddie and Dustin draw the bats away, and I love the little like head pat that he gives Dustin. And then phase 4, flambe.
Yes. So then they head into the trailer and they go through the gate. Steve
Which-
goes first.
Did you love Robin's reaction?
I love
to
it.
doing
So
that cool
first of
flip?
all, it is pretty impressive. He like
Yeah.
goes down, does a little flip like a ninja. Come on.
Yup. Mhm.
And Robin's reaction is like, what does he want us to do? Applaud? But then I love also Robin being such a gentleman and getting down on her knee to give Nancy a leg up.
Of course.
And then they kind of like throw all their stuff and the rest of them come down. And
Eddie has one of the best reactions along with Dustin. It's
yeah,
so
Dustin's face, that actually was something that stuck out to me on this watch. And I was thinking, like, this is the first time Dustin has been in the Upside Down.
Besides the
of
tunnels,
them,
yeah.
Oh, true. But yeah, so he is just kind of like shocked. It's very entertaining. And like, I love them all like pulling each other up and stuff. So then they walk out and Steve stops and he turns to Dustin and Eddie and he's like, guys, if anything starts to go south, abort, don't try to be a hero. This is some foreshadowing. Dustin is like, don't worry, Steve, you can be the hero. Eddie's like, we look at us, we are not heroes.
Oh. And then what happens?
But then Steve starts to walk away. Eddie stops him. He turns back and they have a very nice little interaction where Eddie says, make him pay. But he might have wanted to say something else.
He might have wanted to maybe admit some feelings, but maybe he chickened out. I don't know. But it's just, I do love that they had that nodding of understanding. And then we see Robin, Nancy, and Steve walking out of the trailer park as the red lightning, is going off. And then we do our credits.
Yeah. And this was the last time before season 5 that I got to watch credits this morning. I was like, the next time I watch credits, it's going to be the season 5 credits. We're at a gas station and Jonathan is on the phone. He's on the payphone trying to get a flight. And Elle ends up seeing a AAA billboard, which it took me a really long time to figure out like what was significant about this billboard, because Elle's like staring at it and she somehow has like a revelation about what she can do based on this billboard. And it's actually because the girl is piggybacking on her parent.
No, I always thought I never clocked that the person's piggybacking. I thought it was the white dress with the red ribbon that reminded her of Billy's mom. Because she wears... Guys, audience, what?
Okay.
Maybe it was both.
Maybe it was both.
Maybe it was both. But I like that she kind of like, she breaks it down for them, which I do love that Argyle is like, Jonathan's trying to get a flight. He can't, even though he's lying his ass off saying that there's a family member that might not make it through the night. And Argyle's like, we'll just ride in, steerage. And right away he's like, we would suffocate, Mike says. And he's like, animals ride down there all the time, which is kind of right. Like,
yeah.
But
and sometimes they don't make it.
Yeah, that's true. So probably a little illegal, but it was the 80s. You could smoke on a plane. And I like that Elle kind of breaks it down. She uses the dust that's on the windows and she kind of goes like, I know a way that I can help Max, even though I'm not going to physically be there. I've done it before. I did it with Mama. I did it with Billy. And she kind of like shows how she would kind of like, do her little void searching thing, find Max, enter her mind, and be able to fight Vecna when he tries to take over.
Yeah. So basically she tells them that a bathtub would help. And they passed a motel and Mike is like, they wouldn't have enough salt. And Argyle's like, well, how much salt will you have? What do you need? Is 600 pounds enough? And he's like, I know of a magical place that will give you everything you need. And he's like trying to envision to see if she'll fit in what he's thinking of. And
that's how I kind of measure things. Yeah. I'm always like, how did that piece of furniture never fit through the door? But yeah, 600 pounds of salt, like serve my pizza.
Yeah, I mean,
Christ.
I guess they need a lot of salt
I guess so.
for the pizza.
A lot of sodium.
In the Creel house, I love how they're looking for Vecna and then they just find him like chilling in the living room. Like, do you think he's sitting on the couch?
He was reading the evening paper, okay, checking the ball scores. I did notice that, but I do love how that entire sequence is shot with the blue lights coming from the lanterns. Like, it was lit very cool. And I like that they're in their stockings because they don't want to make noise, which, sorry, my fat ass would make the floors creak no matter what. I could be wearing literally bunny slippers and they would, in an old house like that, you'd hear. But I like that they're communicating via notebook and stuff. And when they finally find where Vecna is, Erica, runs across the street to the playground where we see the spaceship playground.
Yep.
And
Phase 1.
And she's going to give the signal to the teens in the Upside Down. And the same guy,
Adam Murray,
who joined, Jason during the town hall takeover, he literally is walking his dog and he clocks Erica, and then he looks across the street and he sees the blue light coming from the window. So,
Yeah, and I kind of forgot about this scene, but you cut to Jason and he's doing target practice, and Andy comes out and says that they've got something, and he's like, send Ryan. I don't want to waste any more time. And he's like, I don't think you're going to want to send Ryan for this one. The murder house on Moorhead. And then you assume that Adam's character has alerted the boys to what he saw. But back in Russia, Hopper is filling the others in on kind of what's going on at home because he has taken that phone call. But he's saying that the doc Owens was with the girl, and that the girl went to fight some evil in Hawkins, and that Joyce's kids are with her, Mike's with her, and they basically are very stressed about this and they want to get home immediately. But then they realize kind of what Hopper had said a couple episodes ago, that maybe he can still help Elle. And they realize that
all connected to the hive mind.
If they can destroy that swirling dust that they know is part of the Upside Down, they might be able to weaken whatever Elle is fighting enough to help.
And they load up on weapons.
Yeah, including a flamethrower, which lucky Yuri had one of those.
Side note, I know you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I feel like you need to, and I know Tarantino really isn't your taste, but there's a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio,
I love him, so I'll watch it for him.
He's so good in it. But you see, he was in a World War II movie where he kills a bunch of Nazis with a flamethrower, and someone's asking him about it, and he goes, I was shit scared of using that. So his character, it shows a flashback of him doing it with the stunt coordinator, and he's using the flamethrower, and he goes, whoa, that's way too hot. Is there anything we can do about the heat? And you just see the stunt guy go, Rick, it's a flamethrower. And he goes, oh, and then you find out he kept it the entire time. So let's just say when something happens at the end of the movie, he goes into the pool house to get the flamethrower. So that's all I can think of. But it's a good thing they loaded up on that, because what's the one thing the Demogorgon is scared of?
Fire, the one thing that will hurt it. Yeah. So back in Nevada, I guess that's where they are.
May I just say, either those two actors really did light up, or the contacts they were wearing, they both looked equally stoned. So bravo.
Yeah, they were amazing. But they basically greet each other, and they're both in their surfer boy outfits and compliment each other. But they are basically asking to use the kitchen. But the guy working at the Surfer Boy Pizza says he's supposed to be meeting someone at Taco Bell.
And I'm sorry, Winstone, Taco Bell takes priority. And I love that Jonathan sweetens the deal by offering what?
The Purple Palm Tree Delights. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can't get that California stuff out here in Nevada. But I guess it works because he leaves. He looks happy about it, and
And
they
we get this
close the
awesome
store.
we had this awesome scene where it's like edited together of them like getting the kitchen, meaning like they're emptying out the freezer with all the pizza dough, and Argyle is fixing a pizza, which, you know what? Smart. If you're gonna do a mind fight, you gotta strengthen up.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I'm sure Eleven, wasn't eaten down in the Nina project. So while
But it's
that's
edited together with Eddie and Dustin preparing the trailer. It's
Which
a cool montage for
me
sure.
and my friend Jeanette used to always joke that like the sound of the drills and stuff would alert the bats. They're like, "What is that?" And they all come. But I love it. It's them almost like barricading the entire trailer using chain link fence and boards and stuff. And I love that as soon as they're done, you see Eddie and he just proudly smiles and he goes, "Now for the fun part." And he walks into his bedroom and he sees his sweetheart. I had to say it slower because the Massachusetts accent makes me want to say sweetheart. He sees his sweetheart, and I love that he's like, it's almost as though she was destined
for an
to-
alternate dimension.
for an alternate dimension. And there was a behind the scenes footage from a year or two ago where we find out that cool thing that he does with the like strap swinging it over his back. That was Joseph Quinn's idea. So amazing.
Yeah, I love it. And he's like, Henderson, are you ready for the most metal concert in the history of the world?
Is that a trick question?
Such a good line. But Robin and Steve and Nancy are walking in the woods. Robin is being a little neurotic, thinking that they're lost.
Crashing out a little bit.
Yeah. But Steve and Nancy have a little conversation.
Oh, God.
He tells her, well, he's kind of talking about like Robin because Nancy's like, she told me it took her a long time to walk or something like that. And he's like, well, I mean, I crawled backwards as a child. And
those Harrington parents were concerned.
yeah. And he said he ended up crawling backwards down a flight of stairs and hitting his head.
Where
But
was the nanny?
He kind of uses it to make an analogy that he's always been a little bit of a confident idiot. But if he gets a bump on his head, he's able to change. So he thanks Nancy for giving him that bump on his head that he needed a couple years ago so that he was able to change. And he wonders what would have happened if they would meet for the first time now, and admits that Nancy was in his dream with the six little nuggets.
Which
you can tell how thrilled we are about this.
we're rolling our eyes, which I'm sorry, even though, like, much like Nancy, that sounds like fucking hell to me. But if that man was saying that then, Max is as good as dead. I'd be like, Robin's far enough away. Come on, let's go behind a tree.
Let's start on making those nuggets.
Let's start making those nuggets. I'm going to call you Ronald McDonald, baby. Let's make some nuggets. And that echoes through the woods before Demogorgon kills us both with our pants down. All right.
Oh, gold. Stacy Gold.
Yep.
But they do find the Creel house. In my notes it says Creek House. Sounds lovely. And it's surrounded by the bats. They see Erica's light at the playground. So we're getting there for phase 1.
We're getting there. And back in Russia, Hop, Murray, and Joyce, they return to the prison and they go by like the guards shack near the entrance, and they don't hear like over the radio like the Demogorgon like snarling and hissing and the sound of gunshots. So they ride in, they're like, well, that was kind of easy. And then they start climbing through.
But hold on. Murray says he has a bad feeling about this, which I always have
That's
to.
Star Wars, right?
That's Han Solo, yeah.
She had to slip it in, guys. But then they end up entering through the tunnel where they originally escaped from. And I love that right before Hop goes in, he looks and he can see the prison and he sees like the flash of gunfire.
Yeah.
So it's a very eerie moment, like, what are we about to walk into?
Back at the town where Dimitri and Yuri are, they've left Dimitri there to sort of try to monitor
Smart.
Yuri's progress because they're going to need to be airlifted out of there. And Dimitri / Enzo is having a smoke, and Yuri's working on the helicopter. And Dimitri's like, he asks Yuri how long he's been a coward.
Yeah.
And I mean, Yuri's like kind of saying he's not a coward, but Dimitri explains like this is a great evil that will not just stop in America. It doesn't respect borders or anything like that. Like once it destroys their country, it's going to come here and destroy our families and our motherland. And he kind of like tries to light a fire under Yuri a little bit because he's like, I heard that this peanut butter smuggler was once a great hero and like fought against the Chinese or something like that in some war, I guess. And Yuri's like, yeah, that was true. So like, he's like, well, where's that hero now? So he basically like gives Yuri a pep talk.
Yeah. And you see him like take that part back out of his jacket and he starts really fixing the chopper. So that's good. We then go back to the Creel house and there's a really sweet moment between Lucas and Max. They're talking through their notebooks and she basically is saying like, I'm really glad you're here. And he decides to shoot his shot again and he asks if she would like to go to the movies. And she takes a little, like at first she rolls her eyes and she takes a little while writing whatever response she's doing on her notebook. And you see him trying to look and she, holds it back. And then she turns it around and it is the most adorable little portrait of the two of them having popcorn at the movies. And it's so cute. And just then they get signaled by Erica and she is letting the teens know Max will move on to distracting Vecna. And Phase two. And right away Robin's like, oh, look at that. And then you hear Steve going, yeah, we're not even at the hard part yet. And Nancy watches the house, which is surrounded by bats. And she's almost like, pleading, like begging Vecna to just take the bait.
Yeah. So she starts talking to Vecna, basically. And back at the pizza place, Mike has made Elle some goggles to like block the light out of a pizza box.
Impressive.
And they have a cute little conversation about how they've missed each other. And Argyle ends up bringing them pizza. And Mike is a little disgusted about the pineapple, but they're trying to like force feed him.
Try before you deny.
Yeah, it's a cute little interaction and they're just like messing around. And as Jonathan and Will are kind of stirring the salt into the pizza dough freezer, they have this like really tender conversation. Jonathan asks Will if he remembers putting this little Lego guy named Larry up his nose. And basically as a just way to tell Will that it feels like he used to come to him for help more often. And he wants him to know that he still can come to him for help. He apologizes for being a little distant, that it didn't have anything to do with him. He was just like hiding from his own problems. And he wants him to know that he's there for him. And Will is very sweet and says like, I'm here for you too. And they have a nice hug. And
up with hope, down with dope.
It's very sweet. But then Elle gets in, and I feel like she should have left her shoes on because
the socks she takes off look like grippy socks. That
but
they
then
give
she's
you
like
at the hospital,
barefoot in like the upside down.
That's
like,
true.
It's like
I would have worn my Crocs into the upside down. They would have weighted me down into the freezer.
But can you imagine also how like salty her outfit would have been? And she just wears this for like 3 more days after this. So
I know, that's so gross. She was wearing like white jeans, so like how like jeans feel disgusting when they're wet. So the light ends up dying down, kind of confusing Max, and she starts like, obviously she's already taken off her Walkman and stuff, and she starts talking to Vecna, and she's like, I know you can hear my thoughts, even the worst ones. And she ends up sitting down after placing her Walkman down. And what does she say about Billy?
So she says that she thought that Vecna was just trying to upset her when she talked about when he was telling her that she wanted Billy to die, but she was like, well, you were actually telling the truth. He made my life a living hell. I used to fantasize that his car would crash and he would die. And she says that basically like those thoughts haunt her and she can't forgive herself for them. So she actually now fantasizes about something bad happening to her so that she can join him. And I think she's exaggerating a little bit to try to like get Vecna to take the bait.
Yeah.
But Lucas starts talking to her, and at first she doesn't realize. She thinks it's actually Lucas talking to her, and he's giving her a really
Yeah.
hard time. He's like, normal people don't fantasize about people dying.
I thought you were
like,
getting better.
exactly. Do you ever have those thoughts about me? And then it gets like really heated, and she starts arguing back, and then you realize that that's not Lucas, that Vecna has actually taken her.
And I love it that she hits him and she fucking runs, which I'm like, good for you, girl. So we see Elle, she's piggybacking through Max's mind because we see like she's taken over by Vecna, what's really happening in reality. Her eyes are that milky white, and Lucas is actually really sitting by her. And she's like, I love that she's like, don't worry, Max, I'm coming. And she goes through all these memories, and a lot of them is clearly their time together from season 3. So we see how important those light memories were, probably one of the most like important friendships that were to her. And she ends up appearing at a skate park in California when Max was little. And she's like, she has to be here. And she starts looking around.
So Lucas signals that Vecna has her, and they call to Dustin and Eddie, and phase 3 begins. So they turn on the amps, and Eddie has his famous line, "Chrissy, this is for you." As he like rips the guitar pick off of his necklace to start playing the guitar.
So hot.
So then the others start walking towards the house. Max is running from Vecna as Eddie is playing the guitar. This whole like montage scene.
It's so cool.
It's very cool. There's a bunch of like of really cool, and that's why it feels so fast paced, I think, because all of this action is happening just like mixed together, and you've got like quick flashes, because you also see Jason arriving. You see as Max is running through the house that like one of the doors she opens is Billy in the sauna.
Which I thought was really clever because clearly because of COVID, they couldn't get Dacre. So they just re-edited the footage from season 3, but it fits together so well of him trying to burst down the door. And we didn't mention this, but Eddie's playing Metallica's Master of Puppets, which somebody pointed out that album would have, in 1986, would have come out less than 3 weeks before. So it kind of shows that like Eddie probably, because he is one hell of a guitar player, that he probably memorized this really difficult song in that short period of time. So, clearly is a master out of his craft. And I really do like that, because the only other time I had ever heard that song before was during the montage from Old School. So hearing this was so cool. We had heard a Metallica song in season 2, The Four Horsemen with Billy. So, Metallica is a great band, but I love that this, almost much like Kate Bush, this introduced a whole new generation. And obviously that July, I believe, at Lollapalooza, same one that Joe performed at, Joseph Quinn got to meet the bandmates, and they're all like, you did it to justice. You did amazing. So just the quick edits, and we've always praised the Duffer Brothers and all the directors that they get for doing such a great job editing these sequences together, because it's so much action happening at once. You see Erica get tackled by Andy, and right away you see at the same time Max is trapped, very Nightmare on Elm Street-esque. She can't get through. She's trapped in that room with Billy, and we see Dustin is using his binoculars, and he's like, T-minus 30 seconds, as the bats are coming closer, and he does this killer guitar solo.
We also know that Joseph Quinn played a lot of that song like on his own and learned it, but the solo was this guy Aiden Fisher, and he actually was at the Epicons. We got to hear him play Master of Puppets a few times.
2 days in a row, guys. You didn't need to watch, because if you wanted to know when noon was, Aiden Fisher was rocking it out on the stage, okay? Not a bad-looking dude either. Love me a redhead.
But that's pretty cool. He was like the hand double, basically, that like actually played the solo, which was probably a little bit too hard for Joseph Quinn to make look realistic.
But no, there's a really cute photo of Aiden and Joseph both in their like, army gear and stuff posing together. So really, really cool. And it was between that song and Master of Puppets, it's so well because basically Vecna is puppeteering and, commanding, you must obey your master, these poor teens using mind control. So perfect song. And, props to those guitar experts that were able to figure out what song it was.
Before, like during the trailer. See, that's the kind of shit that I'm trying to avoid for this season.
Megan right away is like...
But anyway, Max ends up hiding in her light memory. So just as like the door is about to break down, she kind of just closes her eyes and goes to her happy place, which ends up being the snowball dance from season 2. So we get a call back to that.
And I love her going, holy shit, it worked.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then Dustin and Eddie end up getting down as the bats are getting close.
By the skin of their ass, too.
Yeah. And inside they kind of have a cute little celebration, like most metal ever. But in Russia, they get back to the prison. And all of the demodogs that they've been breeding.
Guys, I'm signing off right now. It was a good run. I'm leaving.
Have broken out of the tanks. So they ask, I mean, how else would they have demodogs?
Continue.
I think they probably went into the Upside Down and collected little darts and then like brought them back and like raised them. Okay. Anyway, gotta bring Dart, my favorite, into
it
this
was a
conversation.
demodog mill. Sick bastards.
Yeah, like a puppy mill. Anyway, they ask this guy that's like almost dead, like
he's
what
not
happened.
looking too good.
And he's like, well, the monster, it got in.
The
and,
particles and the
well,
shadow.
The hold on, I'm getting there. The monster
You're like,
got
Stacey,
in.
shut up. I want to talk more about the breeding.
And then the demodogs, so the guards shot at the monster and the bullets like hit the tanks, and that's how the demodogs
what a
all
bunch
got
of
out.
dipshits.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, what happened to the dust, the particles? And they were like, we call it the shadow. It went into them. So basically it went into the demodogs.
They should have just grabbed a dustbuster and called it a day.
I mean, the teens go into the Creel house.
Which, oh my God.
The stained glass is still intact here in the Upside
Thank
Down.
God. Because you know what? The property value is higher in the Upside Down. I love how bothered we were by that. We're like, of all windows, you hit the pretty one. And I love that it's covered
in vines. There's
and
a lot
course,
of vines.
Robin is like, oh my God. And I do love that Nancy kind of like reassures her. She's like, you got this. And I'd be like, the fuck I do? Like, whoo.
Elle finds little baby Max at the skate park. And
flipping the boys off.
Yeah. And
girl.
she tells the guys that are like, she can like talk to them while she's like in the tank. And she's like, I'm in a memory. She's here, but she can't hear me. She's young. And they're like, is there something like that's out of place? And she ends up saying, oh, there is something that doesn't fit. And she sees like this table on a bridge and
with
there's music playing. And the music that's playing is Every Breath You Take.
By the police.
By the police. And then in Max's memory, you see that Vecna's starting to break in. So this is like kind of cool because like the balloons start bursting blood.
With blood. How cool is that? And then I love that slowly the turntable that's playing the police, it turns into the Dream a Little Dream of Me song.
Yeah.
And like you just see like all the decorations look like shitty and warped and old.
Flowers are dying. Everything gets darker. And then on the bridge in California, there's like a storm that's like starting to come.
There's a storm coming.
Yeah, but then this sucks. This sucks so much. Andy catches Erica. He holds her as Jason goes into the house. He arrives up at the attic and points a gun at Lucas. He's telling Lucas to wake up Max. And
Still
Max,
convinced it has something to do with some devil cult.
Yeah, he's like, it does kind of look a little like sketchy here. Like, I mean, I think obviously it bothered me a lot when Jason pointed this gun at
This was
Lucas.
my biggest issue. Why? And I understand they're teenagers. They're all 14, 15 years old. Why wasn't one of the teens with them? I will never get that. I felt it was unnecessary that Robin, Steve, and Nancy were together. I felt like, like Dustin obviously had to help Eddie. I love Robin to death, and she does throw one of the Molotov cocktails, but like Steve's the jock, he's the athlete. It would have made sense that Robin stays. I don't know how much help she would be, but I felt like the kid should not have been alone. That was my only quip with the entire thing. I'm like, they're still kids,
Yeah. And like you've read The Lathe, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like every time they try to like change something to see if it would help, and like a lot of time, like some of the times somebody does stay with Max, like oh my god, that fic, like
so frustrating and heartbreaking.
Yeah. But anyway, Jason is not wanting to listen to Lucas. Lucas is trying to say, if I wake her up too soon, we're all gonna die. Jason's like, well, if you don't wake her right now, you're going to die. Just you, Lucas. Which is like, ugh. But Hopper makes a plan to fight the monsters.
Which is kind of a smart one.
It is pretty smart.
We're all going to round them up to the arena, and he tells Murray, that he's going to have the flamethrower from up above the platform. Joyce is going to be the jailer. She's going to press the button once they're all in, and he's going to try to be the bait. And I like that Joyce and him kind of like share this tender moment again when she's like, I've already gone through a funeral and stuff, and he's like, I'm going to die someday, but not today. It's very, very sweet and powerful.
Yeah, because she's having flashbacks to the Demodogs killing Bob. And
oh, man.
They do kiss again, which is very sweet. Back at the trailer, Dustin and Eddie are back to back, and I like this shot that kind of like circles them.
Yeah, the rotating dolly track. Yeah.
But then bats end up coming in through the vents at the top of the trailer. So
God damn it.
This makes me think of, I don't know, I'll probably cut this out, but like this always makes me think of The Lathe, because it's like this whole sequence, they try to change so many factors and do it over and over and over again. So
we have to reread that. That's like a 33 chapter fic.
There's a good podfic of The Lathe. Did you listen to it, or did you read it?
No, I read it.
Yeah, I listened to it. It's a good podfic.
Okay, all right. I'm excited. So I like that the teens finally make it up the stairs, and it's just so goddamn hot. Like, literally, Steve gets his axe, which I'm gonna get into so much trouble bringing my plastic axe to Chili's.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna let you do that.
I don't think they're gonna let me do that, Megan. But I almost called her Rachel. Rachel's my friend who's visiting. Rachel, you're gonna get your shotgun out. Nancy gets her shotgun out. And I love that right away, Robin, she's like, it just breaks my heart because, like, there's an earthquake and they all kind of hold on to each other. And you almost are like, did one of them accidentally step on a vine or in fact know the whole time? And right away, the vines grab Robin. And this always rips my heart out because it's such a sibling relationship. But the first person she yells for, looking terrified, is Steve.
Yeah.
And it starts like pinning her against the wall. And Steve and Nancy start trying to whack at the vines, which I guess Joe Keery really broke the camera while doing so with the prop axe. Whoops. And just then it grabs him, and then it grabs Nancy. And I'm not claustrophobic, but just the visual of the vines wrapping around their necks and pinning them way up high on the wall, terrifying.
Yeah. Back at the prison, Hopper walks through the hallways and goes to the laundry room where they saw this Demodog that was by itself. The Demodog is eating a man, but I love that there's a load of laundry still going in the laundry room.
It will get ahead of you if you let it go, okay?
But at the trailer, the bats are continuing to come in through the vent. They fight them off, but then they end up putting one of the shields up there to close the vent off. And they're like, is there any other vents? They're like, shit. So there's more bats that start coming in through the bedroom or whatever. They close the door, but they basically understand that the bats are going to keep coming. So they start to run towards the gate, and Dustin goes up and goes through the portal. Eddie starts to make his way up. And then
everybody's stomach dropped to their assholes when this happened.
Yeah.
July 1st, 2022.
because he has this moment where he realizes, I guess, that what's going to happen if he goes through there.
They're going to probably follow him through the portal, and then Hawkins, you're really screwed. You don't want those flying around. So I love that he hesitates, and Dustin's screaming, come on, Eddie, come on. And then right away you see Eddie, he cuts the rope, and then he throws the mattress over. And when Dustin asks, what are you doing? What does Eddie say?
Buying more time.
Heartbreaking, because
Yeah.
we all knew it was coming. So what he does is he bursts out of the trailer and he jumps on a bike, and all the bats start following him. So he leads them away.
Yeah. So in Max's mind at the snowball dance, Vecna arrives. She tries to hide in her memories of Elle, but he says that he can see everything, everyone. He can feel her friends dying. And it's time. So he appears. And back in the attic, Lucas is continuing to try to explain things to Jason. Jason is refusing to believe that Chrissy was buying drugs, even though Lucas says, like, that she just was trying to feel better because she was so scared from what Vecna was showing
her. She wanted to go
her.
into a K-hole.
Yeah, apparently. But Lucas ends up like telling Jason that he shouldn't have wanted to be popular and normal like Jason, because Jason's actually a raging psychopath.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And Jason's like, well, I shouldn't have even let you through the door. And Lucas is like, I should never have knocked.
Like, that is so mic drop fucking, like, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I do love that it cuts outside, and Erica, what does she do to Andy?
Oh, yeah. She kicks Andy in the nuts to get away, and she screams, crit hit.
Mwah, chef kiss.
But the Walkman breaks as Lucas and Jason start fighting, which is very upsetting because you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And I love that, you know, Vecna is about to kill and take Max. And just then...
Well, and I love this part, too, because Vecna is telling Max she's braver than her brother, but she's still weak and fragile like him. And then...
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, Elle shows up to the party, and she uses her powers to basically grab him.
Yeah, this is so badass. Like,
and this
she
is where
spins him around.
And this is what makes me, and we've mentioned it in our Elm Street episode, when the Freddy worm that I could not stop laughing at spots Nancy, the first person that ever defeated him. He says, you. Same exact thing. And I love that Al goes, hi. And just throws his ass into the bleachers.
Yeah, it's so
amazing.
Good. Eddie is continuing to bike on this bike that's too small for him and draw the bats away. And Dustin climbs up, throws himself through the portal, and then Eddie has moved the mattress like a dick.
He falls hard.
He falls hard and obviously like hurts his leg bad.
I love it, like a dick. Who's trying to prevent him from going in, you asshole.
Yeah, but if he was going to come back through, like, the mattress should have been there.
But I do love, this is such a powerful scene. And there's a lot of scenes where, you know, a character is facing their fears, is standing up to like symbolism of their worst fears, of an abuser, you know. And we see as he's knocked off the bike, he starts running. And then suddenly we see kind of like flashbacks in his mind of him going, I didn't know what to do, so I just ran. I ran and I left her. Because we can tell he's really haunted by that, even though like he was terrified.
What the fuck else was he supposed to do?
What were you going to do?
And he should have run here too, you idiot.
Yeah, so right away you see him start thinking, you know, I just ran. I did what I always did. I ran. And you hear the repeating line of him going, look at us. We are not heroes. And the music is just so goddamn powerful. But he turns around and like a knight, he just has a spear in one hand and a shield in the other. And he kind of stands up straight. Was this the smartest move?
No, there's no shame in running. Take your own fucking advice.
Yeah, thank you. Run back to Steve Harrington, goddammit. And instead, he like lets out like a battle cry, and all the bats start dive bombing, and he hides behind his shield.
In Russia, Hopper is drawing the Demodogs towards the arena. And at the Creel house, Erica runs inside. Jason and Lucas are still fighting.
Mhm.
Max, in her memory, in her mind, she gets up. She asks if Elle is real or if she made her. And Elle has probably the most iconic line in all of Stranger Things
I piggybacked.
from a pizza dough freezer.
Yep.
But then, Vecna gets back up and Elle begins to fight with Vecna. He has some like creepy things to say about how he's glad that she's here and that this is going to be beautiful.
Beautiful. He says that a lot.
Yeah, like she was like a baby, like, and you wanted her by your side. Like,
Yeah, like, dude,
what?
creepy.
Ugh, gross.
Which I know you haven't watched the first 5 minutes yet, and this isn't a spoiler. He says the beautiful line basically again, and I'm like, have you taken a look around the Upside Down? This
Yeah,
is the
your definition
opposite.
of beautiful is a
Yeah.
little interesting. Like,
Not exactly hitting
your
the mark.
aesthetic is.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
imagine his Pinterest
remember
board.
Trading Places?
Oh, he would be one of those deranged fucks that would hot glue the hay onto the walls and be like, oh, it's like a modern farmhouse. Like, his Pinterest board is the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah. That is. I mean, some people do think that that's beautiful.
Sure,
I do
Jan.
kind of want to paint my bedroom like black, or this room black.
With what, like the red lightning?
No, just dark walls.
Dark walls make the room smaller.
I know, but I want to feel cozy. I
You're
want like a
sick
dark
fuck.
green in the bedroom. But
You want my bedroom.
is it dark green?
Yeah, remember I told you the story of my dad? I was like, I want caramel walls and forest green radiators. And he got it wrong. So he did forest green walls and caramel radiators. He's like, I don't know why you asked that, Stace. The room looks a whole lot smaller. But I like low-key love it now.
Yeah, it's
So-
cozy.
It's cozy. Remember you looking at my chain poster and you're like, so you just sleep underneath that every night? You're so disturbed. All right, let's get it together.
Anyway, so wait. I was gonna say something
Vecna.
really profound here.
Okay, here we go.
No, it's
No,
gone.
you like a fart in the wind.
Um,
So Vecna is like tossing 11 around like a rag doll.
Yeah. So Dustin, he hobbles out of the trailer as the bats
Aw.
start to like swarm Eddie. And then back in with Max, she actually tries to like join the fight.
She tries.
Like she like picks up a stake. I guess she's gonna try to stake him through the heart, like
that would have
like a
been good.
vampire. But he just tosses her aside. And Vecna says that before he kills Elle, he wants her to watch. He's like got
Stop.
like a little bit of a voyeurism kink.
Guys, the look on my face right now. I'm done.
He just says that so many times. I want you to watch.
I want you to watch. It's gonna. He was out in the woods probably with Jonathan snapping pictures. Sick bastard.
But he shoves Elle through
Into the soup world.
his soup tomato bisque mind lair.
Yup.
He ties her up with the vines. Oh, and he ties her up on the stained glass door.
Oh, thank God that's still intact. The Zillow price is going right up.
She sees all the others that are also like tied up, and he carries Max in and ties her up too.
You know
So,
that world smells.
I mean, probably like tomato bisque.
And bodies, right?
Oh,
Jeez.
but Elle is like trying to like make a connection with Henry.
Papa is dead.
She's like, I know what he did to you. I know that he hurt you. That like Papa was the monster, not you. And Vecna's like, hell no.
I don't give a flying fuck. Like,
Papa
that's
wasn't-
basically it.
Papa wasn't a monster. Papa was just a mediocre man.
Yup.
Like, that's why he was so obsessed with finding power in others like you and me.
He
Like,
died like the Green Lady Eminem.
exactly. So he's like, Papa didn't make me into this. you did.
You did, which, like, circle gets the square.
Yeah.
And what do we see in a flashback?
Well, he kind of explains what happened when he went down into that hellscape that she banished him to. And he said it was a new realm, unspoiled by mankind. This is his aesthetic. Like, this is what he believes is beautiful and unspoiled. So there's demodogs there, and, like, he finds this swirling dust. He loves spiders, so he creates it into a spider shape.
He was hard when he saw that mind flare, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I always kind of forgot that, like, it wasn't a mind flare there already. It was just the dust.
He made it into one,
He was the
yeah.
one who made it into that spider shape because he was so obsessed with it. And then when she kind of realizes that he was the one that made the mind flare, she was like, it was you, always you. Which,
Bum.
But he's like, well, I needed your power to be able to open gates. So the whole, like, lore behind this is still a little, like,
It's
wishy-washy, I think.
Yeah, I'm hoping they try to clarify it a little bit better, because there's two different camps. There's the camps that believe that the Duffer Brothers had this all written out in advance, and that, you know, that little flash of a monster in season 1 when Will gets taken is Vecna. But then there's the other camp that's like, did you guys even know you were going to get, like, renewed? Like, are you just making it up as you went along? So I'm kind of a mixture of both, but it is very interesting, and hopefully season 5 will clarify some things. But we then go to the bats grab Eddie and they power him, and one starts to strangle him like they did with Steve. And they start, I post it every year on Joseph Quinn's birthday to, like, you know, happy birthday to me playing. And it's just, he lets out such a blood curdling scream as they go to the sides again, going for the damn kidneys, and they start biting into him. And at that exact moment, a Demodog tackles Hop. And we're seeing, like, the teens getting strangled. It's not looking too good. Erica's pounding on the door. She can't get into the attic. And what happens?
Well, basically, all of these things are flashes of Vecna saying, like, your friends have already lost. Like,
Hawkins will fall.
He says that Hawkins will burn and fall, and I'm going to be there to pick up the pieces when it does and make it into something
beautiful.
Yeah.
He is a sick fuck.
But again, he says he had hoped to have her by his side, but now he just wants her to
watch. Ew.
He's very repetitive. But he begins to take Max, so she begins to float.
The look on Lucas's face as he's getting, like, strangled by Jason is heartbreaking.
Yeah. Elle is, like, struggling, and the guys can tell that she can't breathe. And Will is like, Mike, talk to her.
I can't. Guys, we're rolling our eyes during the Nuggets Nancy scene. This scene, I'm sorry, good for Finn, great acting. It's a great monologue, but I think it's complete horseshit.
Yeah. I mean, he basically just says he loves her over and over again, which is what she's wanted him to say. Like, it was what she was mad that he wouldn't say. He says that he was afraid that she's going to realize that she doesn't need him. And he thought that admitting that would make that moment come sooner. But he says that he loves her no matter what, with her powers, without her powers, that she's his superhero. He doesn't want to lose her. He says, you can fly.
You can fly, which...
we'll see. But right now, you need to fight. And then they basically just all yell at her to fight. They get her out of the water. And she does end up fighting back. She fights against the vines.
I'm sorry. You needed the power of your boyfriend saying he loved you. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right. Whatever.
Maybe it's friendship. She just needed to hear from her friends.
She needs to be like Beyonce. She's an independent woman that don't need no man.
But Lucas takes down Jason.
Oh,
which
it's
is
so
pretty
good.
Impressive.
When he gets the upper hand, bravo.
But Max's bones do start to break, and Eddie is quite overcome by bats.
There's like a quick shot of him, like blood. It's like gurgling out of his mouth, and he's screeching. And I think like for the ratings, like they made it like a 2-second clip, almost like that 2-second clip, Billy drinking the chlorine. Like it's so quick, but you see it and you're like, Jesus. Which they're saying season 5 is MA.
Yeah, I think it is.
Steve Harrington's bare ass. All right.
But Elle blasts back Vecna. And just at that moment, Joyce takes out the Demodog that
With
is
a
like
cattle prod.
attacking Hopper, which is awesome because like this is kind of like, you know,
What
she
she wanted to do.
be able to do with Bob. Yeah. And Max falls.
Yeah, Maury uses the
That
flamethrower.
He takes his grill master duties very seriously. That's what Hopper
It's
said he had to
pretty
do.
great.
Yeah.
And I love that all the vines, because thanks to them doing that, because it's a hive mind, you see the bats all fall. Dustin sees all the bats fall that were attacking Eddie. And then all the teens, the vines let them go. And I love like Robin's, everyone's like always like, oh, that's a connection to Pulp Fiction about divine intervention. You should see it. It's amazing. But I love that Robin's like, I don't believe in a higher power.
But that was a miracle.
That was a miracle. And that's when they're like phase 4.
Flambe.
Yeah.
And Hopper faces down against the Demogorgon.
With
And
the
he
Conan
picks up
sword.
this sword. So tell the history of the sword real quick.
Conan the Barbarian. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger series. Red Sonja, that was like a spinoff and stuff. It's like a really cheesy action movie that Arnold Schwarzenegger did in like 85. But that was the real sword, and it was a real prop that I guess Hop took. He was like, yeah, David Harbour took, and he was like, yeah, they weren't too happy about it. And I just love him just picking it up. And this is when like it starts amping up the big theatrical showdown.
Yeah, because the teens go into the attic finally. They find Vecna plugged in.
Oh, God.
Vecna is talking to Elle and saying, like, you think that you've won, but this is just the beginning of the end. Not the end of the beginning, but the beginning of the end.
And I love that this epic instrumental version of running up that hill, this or that. And we see they start lighting the Molotov cocktails. And this was ingenious. I mean, I would have brought like 60 of them and just kept, the whole house would have been on fire. We would have all died. But I love that, you know, right away, you know, he tells Eleven, like, you've lost. And what does she say back to him?
No, you have. And in the attic, he's on fire from the Molotov cocktails. And Hopper fights that Demogorgon like a boss.
Oh, it's so good.
Cuts off the arms and then decapitates it. It's amazing.
Yep. And we see during this, Max opens her eyes. They're still milky.
Yeah.
And they're bleeding. And we see, like, literally they hit him with 2 Molotov cocktails. And then Nancy, and I got to give Nancy credit. She is a badass in this sequence. She steps forward. It's beautifully shot. And she starts firing away at Vecna.
Yeah.
It's just so amazing. And very much like the original Halloween, she shoots him so many times that still lit on fire. He goes crashing through the attic window.
Right. And when they run downstairs, though, and they look at the ground where he's fallen, he's not there anymore.
Just like in Halloween. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. Also, that reminds me of in season 3 when Billy goes out through the wall and then they like go outside and he's running away. They actually see him running away, but like he's not there where you would expect him to be.
That's why I'm wondering, because we know the first episode is called The Crawl. Like, are we going to see him still lit on fire, like, going, I need Neosporin?
Or are we
And
seeing
he's-
like a flashback of Steve crawling backwards?
You see the nanny's on the phone. She's like, I hate working for these rich assholes. You just see the toddler go down all the stairs. But we see in the arena, Right away, Yuri and Dimitri, the helicopter is fixed and they're flying overhead to airlift them. And I love Murray, like just cheering and losing his shit. And Hop and Joyce are embracing.
Yeah.
So we know in Russia, they're good. So
And
that's
this
great.
might be the last we've ever seen of Yuri and Dimitri having their heroic moment in the
They did good.
helicopter. It was pretty good. But this is like the most heartbreaking.
This was a double shot. And I
didn't even take any notes about Eddie.
Yeah, I literally put death scene. This is so heartbreaking because, you know, we were all devastated when it happened. When I first witnessed it, I was drinking like margaritas at like 11 in the morning. And I sat on my back deck because much like the entire world, I was so charmed by Joseph Quinn's performance. And even though he was a new addition to the crew, I just was devastated. And it's so well acted between Gaten and Joseph Quinn. And then, you know, we'll get to it in a second, but then Max's scene. And I told you, I watched this with my late father, who was not a crier. I didn't see him ever really cry much in my entire life. And he teared up during these two scenes because they're so well acted. And it feels like a double gut punch, you know? So we see Dustin, he runs over to Eddie, who's surrounded by all the dead bats. And Eddie's like, it's bad, isn't it? He's like, don't worry, we're going to get you to a hospital. And he tries to move him. And, you know, clearly he's hurt bad. We've seen the prosthetics. People had different theories. There was supposedly the story that they were going to show more of it, but probably due to the lighting, they said they were losing the light. And also they were based off of, I think it was maybe TV 14. They couldn't show much, but the silicone appliances, there has been behind the scene footage of them applying it. It's remarkable. But he basically is laying in Dustin's arms. And what does he say to him?
He tells Dustin to take care of the little sheepies. And Dustin's like, no, you're going to do that. And he's like, no, promise me, say it. Say you'll take care of them because think I'm finally going to graduate.
Oh, God. And he's like, it was finally my year, Henderson.
Yeah. Which I also know that Gaten has talked about how they shot this scene and Joseph Quinn's performance was so beautiful, but he wasn't super confident in his performance the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So they did reshoot it. And what you see of Gaten was like the reshoots. Of like Gaten's, like, because he's very emotional. And I think
he's sobbing. Yeah.
Like the first time he wasn't able to like do it to justice for himself is what he said. So yeah.
And it's so heartbreaking. We found out later it was Ablib, the whole like, I love you, man. I love you too. And Joseph Quinn, like, that man knows how to fucking die on screen. It was probably, and I think this is why, like, I have such a hard time watching this scene. I know you've never done an edit of it. It's just, he has like the death rattle. Like, he literally is struggling to breathe.
Like, why would you want to rewatch someone die over and over again? It looks so realistic. Like,
it's so realistic. And like, you hear him like choking on his own blood. And he's got these beautiful big brown eyes and they're just full of tears. And it's almost like you can feel the pain. So when he finally, like, you know, you see Dustin realizes he's not responding and it's him shaking him, screaming for his friend. And of course, fucking Moby's playing. So I think everybody's hearts were collectively literally ripped out. It was horrifying.
But both times, that the first time I watched that scene and then also today, I did not cry until the next part.
Oh, God.
Where Max is awake and she's talking to Lucas. She said she can't see or feel anything and she's terrified. She doesn't want to die. She's not ready.
Yeah.
And Lucas and you can see that Elle is also there in her mind.
Helpless, yeah.
Like, they don't know what to do. And it's just devastating when she
I love that Erica
loses
comes
consciousness.
Through.
Yeah.
And right away, and I guess this was ad-libbed too, which, what, Caleb, like, this was acting. Because I remember I discussed it with a friend of mine, Brandon, and he was like, he's screaming out for his baby sister. Erica, help, please, you know, run and get help. And it's just like, you know, not to get too deep, but you hear about a lot of people that maybe have attempted suicide or have hit rock bottom, and then it's almost like a wake-up call that, you know, they suddenly realize, no, they don't want to do this, they want to live. So it's just after seeing Max struggle so badly this season, and then her sounding so scared, I'm not ready, I don't want to die, and him holding her in his arms, and then she goes still, she dies. And the reality of that happening, and then of course you don't even get a second to like realize, oh my God, Max just died. As soon as her heart stops, what happens?
The clock chimes, the gate starts to open, it spreads, it takes out Jason.
Fuck yeah.
It meets in the center of the town. You also see like the teens running back into the house because they hear the clock chiming.
And the fact that they know it's Max. Ugh.
Yeah, it's devastating. And then you get a few beats of Elle kind of like processing this, and she's just like, no. Like, and then she has these flashes of her memories with Max and their friendship, and the one that you like land on is Max saying to Elle, we make our own
rules, which I think this was the Duffers being like, suck it, everyone.
Yeah.
Some people roll in their eyes at this, but Max is such a beloved character. I welcome it. I wish she had been able to do this with Eddie, because we hear her go, no, you're not going. And I've told you before, I literally fast forward during the sequence of the gates ripping open. Somehow I can watch Eddie and Max die, but watching those gates spread through Hawkins.
And the houses just like falling in. Yeah.
I love that I originally missed Jason dying. I'm like, what do you mean he died? Well, it's a little obvious, but just in the cool sound effect of the clock, just knowing that they lost. So this is a little bit of a, oh, thank God, because Elle closes her eyes. And as we remember, she's new and improved. She's unlocked like all this new power. So some people could roll their eyes and be like, what the fuck is this? I think it makes sense. And she closes her eyes and you see it spinning around them. And then it cuts to black and it says 2 days later.
But also, I mean, we're going to get to this, but like, it is sort of, it's not a magic fix, because we do find out that like, Max isn't fully conscious. She didn't save her just like automatically. Like, there's gotta be more fight to get her back.
Like, now I'm a little more hopeful, but when I first originally watched it, and like you said, we'll get to it in a second, but when she goes into her mind, it's just black. I remember looking at my sister and going, does that mean she's brain dead? Like, she's not there anymore? That's terrifying. So, like you said, it's not a happy-go-lucky easy fix, but it does leave a door open a little, you know, leaves it open 3 inches.
I do love this scene as the Surfer Boy pizza van is driving into Hawkins, as all of the people who have like packed up their cars are making like this mass exodus from the town. The town is basically still on fire. Like, the van is driving through downtown, and you just see like people at the church, people at the school,
the military's there,
army people. Yeah. The news,
and I like that. This is what kills me.
Yeah. The news is reporting that Eddie Munson is the prime suspect in this series of ritualistic murders, and that he's missing and presumed dead.
Oh,
I like that. Presumed
heartbreaking.
Dead.
Fingers crossed.
We didn't see a body. Come on, Duffers. I mean, we saw a body, but we didn't see like what they did with the dead body.
Yeah, like I feel like the 2 days. I mean, the episode was long enough, so it's kind of like, okay, we got to wrap this up. I feel like it was a cheap shot that we didn't get to see the teens' reaction, especially like Steve with Dustin, because you know that was tough. And probably, did they leave his body behind? Were they forced to? You don't know. So there's a lot of unanswered questions.
How they got back through, because the gates were like fiery portals to hell. Like, like how did they get back through to the right side? Like, that's what I would like to know.
Yeah.
Just like jump through that chasm that opened up. Like,
good word. Look at you. I love that.
But Ted and Karen are watching the news, and I love Ted being like, oh, they're calling it a doorway into hell. And Karen's like, oh, they're just like creating hysteria. But Holly's, back on that light bright.
She's on that light bright, though.
I think she's making a white rabbit again, but I can't really tell for sure in this scene. But Karen gives Nancy a box to donate. And on top is also a little rabbit.
Mr. Rabbit.
Just as they're loading up the car to take donations to the school, what pulls up in the driveway?
Beep, beep. Here comes the Surfer Boy pizza
I
van.
love Karen. Did somebody order a pizza?
Or pizza. And it's a really cute, like, I love that nobody knows who Argyle is, but he's just happy to be there. He's vibing. And I love that, the friends all, run to hug Eleven and Mike and Will. And we see Nancy and Jonathan reunite. And I love that quick little shot of you just see Steve look so defeated. And like Robin's like, there,
patting him on the shoulder. Yeah. But Karen hugs Mike and she's like,
this is cute.
You're never leaving to go on vacation again. Forget about college. You're staying right here. Like,
yeah, it's pretty cute because you can only imagine she wasn't able to get in touch with him. The whole town is destroyed. What's been going on, So I do like that, and I love that. Right away, you see them be like, when the friends reunite, you see Dustin go, oh my God, you don't know. So we then cut to the hospital, and I like that Elle is wearing a hoodie. She's kind of like in disguise, I guess.
Yeah, and she's got her hood up. But like before they get there to the hospital, Lucas is sitting there reading to Max.
What is he reading?
He's reading The Talisman, which I tried to start and couldn't get very far into. But
I gotta be honest, I've heard different things from like both you and Brandy. I don't think my sisters read it. We did our King episode, but it's been rumored that that's going to be the Duffer Brothers' next project. I would like.
Yeah, I think they'll do a good job with it.
They will. They'll probably make it to the point that I'll want to read it. And usually I like to read the books first. I think they would do better with Needful Things, but that's my dream project for them. But he does read it to the, Max, and I love that taped to the wall is her little sketch of them at the movies.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I also don't know that I ever realized that Erica is there too in the hospital room with Lucas and Max.
That's a good sibling.
Which was very sweet. Yeah. But like you said, the others come in. Elle has a hoodie on. And they all hug. Elle sits down at the bed and she holds Max's hand, and then we kind of cut away for now. But Steve, Robin, and Dustin go to the school to drop off the donations. They ask if they can help. So Steve starts sorting the clothes.
He's on clothing duty.
And Robin gets sandwich duty, who ends up also being on sandwich duty.
And I do like that Vicky's there. And she almost much like Robin, she even admits this when she gets nervous, she kind of word vomits. And she's talking about how her boyfriend left in the middle of all of this. And then she kind of complains. She's like, he doesn't even like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So ding, ding, ding. She was the fan. And then she's like, look at me. And she kind of like, states the obvious. She's like, here I am complaining about my stupid boyfriend, and people literally have lost everything. And it's a very sweet scene of, her making that horrible peanut butter sandwich. And it's them kind of like having this cute moment. And I love like all the memes of like Steve smiling, watching it. And they're like, he can't hear the conversation. He doesn't know that the boyfriend left town. He just loves that Robin's being a homewrecker. So like very cute little, hopeful ending for those characters.
Yeah. And Mr. Munson comes in to the gym where there's lots of people kind of like sleeping on cots and stuff like that. But he's putting up he's replacing the missing poster of Eddie that somebody has
defiled.
Like graffitied. But he's wearing the same style jacket that Jonathan was wearing in season 1 when he's putting up missing posters for Will, which is always like a clue like, well, Will was missing and he wasn't really dead. They thought he was dead. Yep. And we even saw a body. But Dustin kind of pulls Wayne aside. And do you want to talk about that? Because I can't do it.
This scene kills me because right away he's like, Mr. Munson, I was a friend of Eddie's. I was with him when the earthquakes hit. And he's like, well, where is Eddie now? And he kind of shows him that he didn't make it by just giving him the guitar pick necklace, which somebody once said Dustin had to pull that off his corpse. Like, that's heartbreaking.
Well, he was using the guitar pick to he pulled it off of his neck to play the guitar.
Maybe it was in his pocket, I'm hoping.
Yeah, or he had like brought it in the house.
Yeah, but
or something.
just the idea of like Dustin taking that, it's heartbreaking. And they kind of sit down. I have to hand it to this actor who plays Wayne. Like, he just looks absolutely destroyed, because just his reaction to like holding the necklace and almost like kissing it and crying. And Dustin just says, like, I just want to let you know. And I do love all the things. If I've never even seen him be angry. And then there's the montage of him freaking out, screaming, Jesus Christ. But he says that, right up until the very end, he died a hero. He died saving this town that hated him. And, he just wanted to let Wayne know that. So it's so goddamn sad. And your heart bleeds for Wayne because he knew that his nephew, he knew his boy, and he knew that he wasn't, responsible for this, but he's being pinned as this murderer because they needed a scapegoat. But I'm glad that Dustin was able to share that moment with him. So literally makes you want to die. But we then cut to Hop's cabin. And what's going on there?
Yep. So the Surfer Boy pizza van arrives at the cabin. They have not changed their clothes yet, which gross.
They smell. Everyone smells like shit. Yeah.
But
salt.
they start to kind of clean up and try to rebuild the cabin a little bit. I guess their plan is for Elle to hide there.
Yeah.
Argyle is in the woods gathering mushrooms, and that might be the last time we ever see him, which...
What a way to go.
What a way to go. Jonathan and Nancy have a little chat about Steve and how he's actually grown up a little bit, which is what Nancy says. And Nancy said it feels like the world keeps getting in the way of their big plans. She asks about Jonathan's college letter, and he just lies again, which means...
It makes you wonder, how are they going to be next season? Because I would like to hope that they know. And, like, also, this is a year later. Nancy, did you not go to college? Like,
right.
what happened?
I mean, she does say, like, it doesn't matter now. Like she's kind of like, there's more important things than college right now. But Will and Mike are talking, and Mike is saying that Elle hasn't really said much, that she has never really lost like that before. And Will is kind of like, well, she'll get another chance. And Mike is like, well, I hope not. And Will is like, well, he's still there. Like, now that I'm back here,
feel him. Yeah.
I can feel him. I can feel that he's hurt, but he's not going to give up until he's taken everyone, and that they're going to have to kill him. And just at that moment, a government car pulls up, and Elle is in her bedroom. She finds this bottle.
Kills me.
Yeah, that she and Max had played spin the bottle with. And she spins it, and as she spins it, you kind of see what happened when she sat down at the hospital bed and held Max's hand. And you see her kind of just being in the void. It's
nothing.
Max's mind is just an empty void. There's nothing there. She's calling for Max. And like you said, is Max brain dead? Like, how are they going to find her?
I'm like tearing up thinking about this.
Yeah.
Like, this is tough because it's almost like you feel like she's hit rock bottom. She feels like she's failed her friend, And at this exact moment, I have to say, like, I bawled, especially like after I lost my father. Like, not to be too sappy, guys, but like, this is like the fairy tale ending, that no, your parent didn't die. They're back. So I love that he walks in and she just looks so stunned, and he's like, hi, kid. And right away she just embraces him and starts sobbing. And I love her saying, I left the door open 3 inches. Oh,
yeah. She's like, I never gave up hope. Then they sit down on the bed, and she kind of like makes over his hair. He's like, yeah, I kind of stole your look, kid. She says it looks bitchin', but she hears Joyce, and her face just kind of lights up. And I think Hopper says something like, somebody else didn't give up hope either. So she goes outside. Joyce is hugging her boys, and then Elle comes over and hugs Joyce. And I love that relationship, and just realizing how close Elle and Joyce are now. But she says, I'm glad you went to your conference. And Joyce is like, yeah, that was quite the experience. But Mike and Hopper have a little like interaction too. Hopper's like, you've grown, and Mike's like, you
got thinner."
shrunk.
Yeah, you fucking asshole.
But Will, feels the back of his neck, creepy crawlies, and
Uh-oh. And then the theme
starts-
starts playing.
yeah, it's like this like theme song, but it's almost like, I feel like it's like Game of Thrones almost, like
It's
Star
like an
Wars.
orchestra. Yeah,
Yes.
like epic. Yeah.
It's orchestra and like this choir. Like at one point the subtitles say like dire choir vocalizations or something like that.
Damn.
And I was like, oh, this is so dramatic. But it starts to get darker. You see like what looks like snow. You see all the other characters noticing and like thinking that it's snowing because like it's dark and
You're
this
Holly. Mom, it's snowing.
toilet
And she-
paper dust coming from
Toy-
the
Look at you.
sky.
Full circle, guys. Toilet paper dust. Yep.
But the rot is also spreading, like all the flowers are dying.
Which I did like. Somebody pointed out, because remember in her opening letter to Mike, she's talking about how much she thought she was going to miss the flowers in Hawkins, and he ends up bringing her some. And you see her like lift the flowers, and they're dying, and they're at this beautiful like lookout almost, which like somebody should build a house there that overlooks the town. But what's happening to the sky?
It's like on fire. And like you knew the town was still on fire, but like it's basically like turning into like the upside down, basically.
Red lightning. Yep.
I mean, Vecna's taking over with his aesthetic, I guess. But I like that people have pointed out too that like as they're standing on that hill, it's like Elle by herself, but then you've got like the three couples. You've got like Joyce and Hopper, you've got Nancy and Jonathan, and then you've got Will and Mike standing together. So it's like, and they're all just sort of looking out. And I think at the end of Empire Strikes Back, aren't they just like standing there looking out the
Standing.
window? Like,
And that's our Empire Strikes Back season.
Yeah.
Because they lost, and our heroes are kind of like left in this horrible like limbo. But what I really have to hand to the Duffers is the use of Susie
spellbound.
and the Banshees
Yeah.
spellbound, because that's literally what was happening to the teens. They were under a spell. So just the soundtrack this season is so fire. But this is the season that like I became a super fan in 2019, summer 2019 with season 3. But I know this was the season that really cemented it for you.
It
This
was,
one
yeah.
put me into hyperdrive. It was just so unreal, and it's just so surreal to think now, 3 years later, now we're just a few days away from seeing these characters again.
Yeah.
X
insane.
amount of months later, I think it's like 18 months later, picking up in 1987, and what's going to happen to this town. So amazing.
3 days from now, we will know. Well, at least we're going to know Volume 1. And I have this feeling that we're going to be left off with a terrible cliffhanger
Oh, yeah, because it's the longest wait between volumes. Yep.
because it's almost a month,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So
I'm probably gonna rewatch them religiously, but it's gonna be emotional. It's gonna be
Yeah.
crazy. It's just
Yeah.
like we're finally here, And
were you
it's
going to
just-
high five me? Is that what
I was gonna high five you
High
because,
five.
dude, we
I
did
left
all
her
our-
hanging.
I know, what an ass. We did all our deep dives, guys, and I hope you guys were able to enjoy it. It's been a lot of work. Bravo to you, Megan, doing such a great job editing my rambles. But this was a lot of fun revisiting it right on the eve of season 5.
Yep. And we will be back very soon to just have some group therapy.
We need
as
some
I
group
know
therapy.
we are going to need. So we just will basically be having a casual conversation about our first reactions to Volume 1, and we'll record that at some point over Thanksgiving weekend. So
Amen.
you'll hear from us again soon.
All right, guys, over and out.
Over and out.